Welcome to our AI Masterclass by Vishal. To start with, Kannada Rajyotsavada Hardik Shubhashimಗಳು. And over to Vishal.
All right, just quick audio check. Everyone can hear me online. By the way, there's a couple of you online there. If anyone can give any reactions. Yes. Okay. Okay. Cool. Everyone can hear me from the back as well? All good. Oh, you were right. Right. All right. Okay. First, thanks everyone, and thanks to the IIMBAA for this opportunity for me to come here and share. I'm not sure if some of you have seen me present different AI and other presentations from Hyderabad. So I'm visiting here from Hyderabad to be here with you, and pleasure to be here. A little about myself, and we'll get into a couple of things I want to show and tell. So today's session is really about just showcasing a bunch of tools that I use, that I know others use. There's a whole lot of stuff happening in AI, and I make it my mission in life basically to try everything that comes out as much as possible, and then distill it down to what I actually end up using, and then sharing it with others. So, brief intro about myself. Long story short, I was born in Germany, moved to Malaysia, Uzbekistan, and India. So I moved to Uzbekistan only for 1 year. That then became my campus nickname of Uzbek. Now I run a company called Quantana. And
sharing is not there.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, now it is.
Yep. So that's about me. So I run this company now. We are into custom software development. I come from a design and software development sort of background, but I've really gotten more into AI in terms of both building products as well as learning them, building models, and so driving an entire team that does that. My other side passion is teaching. So I also like sharing different things, whether it's product design, whether it's how I build products, etc. And I'm a speaker at various places like London Business School and Carnegie Mellon University. Okay. So broadly, before we get into the tools, today's session will be about different kinds of tools. If you've seen the agenda, these are things that we commonly use, at least as a company, as an individual. I want to showcase that. But what I wanted to first open with is sense of what does learning AI mean? And I think this is where there's a lot of FOMO in people saying, what actually is AI learning? Right. And I see this in sort of four different aspects.
No, not
One
same.
is the one we're focusing on today, which is I want to use AI to get work done. Really, what are the little things that make a huge difference in how we operate things? And this is all of us, right? Literally any job, anywhere, students, working professionals, you should be using some form of chat GTP, some form of commonly available tools, Gemini, and even some of these workflows as well, that you can set up and save time with. Now, that's usually good enough for if you're not a technical person, that's pretty much the world of your AI and a little bit of the number three. The second one is where if you're talking about building something with AI, that's where like we come in as a software provider or a enterprise that needs a solution with AI in it. It's always good to be aware of these, and then not today, but in future sessions, we'll be going through some of these. The idea is that what all is possible if you want to build something with AI. And that's where a lot of
ಇದು ಟೂತ್ಪೇಸ್ಟ್ ಖಾಲಿ ಆಗಿದೆ.
Sorry, guys, if you can go on mute if you're online. Yeah. And the next level I call for something as a business advantage that's probably more specific to your business rather than as an individual. This is where I use certain things where we're recruiting, we're doing some design work, and that might vary for depending on who you are. But this is where we use a lot of AI as a tool and as an automation to drive certain things that's helpful to our business specific needs. And then the last phase is how AI actually works. When I say AI, it's your LLMs, it's your vision learning models, it's your all the deep technical stuff. This is probably, if you have your research team that's interested in something fundamental, that's where it is. But that's not likely that we will ever get into. But as long as you know what the limitations are, what different models can do in different aspects, then that's good enough for at least this audience. So today really will be about the first part. Again, I'm just laying this out in case you have questions about, oh, I learned how to use some tools, but did I learn all of AI? I'll say there's nobody in the world who can say I've learned all of AI. But if you take away at least one or two tools that you picked up today, and if it even saves you 5 minutes, 10 minutes per day, I'll be a very happy man, and you'll be a very happy man as well, and woman. All right. With that, I think I will quickly get into the different tools over here. So I will see, if you can see over here, I've segregated our entire discussion into a couple of speaking folks over here. Yeah, you guys can go on mute if you're joining us online. Yeah. So the way today will run is mostly I will just showcase different tools and how I'm putting them to use and just show them live. So instead of slides, we will kind of go through one after the other. If you have any questions, feel free to just either just raise your hand and I can call you out, etc. If you're online, please send a message, and Lokesh here will just keep an eye on the chat and just interrupt at the appropriate time. This, again, I'm not expecting this to be fully interactive, but definitely any questions that you have, don't wait for it to the end. Just raise your hand. You can ask one or two, and we'll get from there. Okay, so the overall lay of today's land will be looking at different tools in terms of speech to text, creating presentations, custom GPTs, how our business gets leads and tenders using deep research. That's a great use case that we are finding quite valuable. How we train our employees and ourselves to learn different tools, specifically focusing on Notebook LM. Flavor of how we generate images for even small things that really add a lot of value. And towards the end, I'll just preview some of the agentic workflows. Again, this itself as a single tool I can spend an entire day on. And you might have been part of one lesson where I had actually gone into it. But I'll show you what we're doing in our organization and how pretty much every department in our entire company is being trained on this. So this is something that's quite important that we'll get into. Okay, so I'll start with something that pretty much everyone here should be able to use in some way. And there's a couple of tools over here that I'll mention. So roughly how fast do you type? Just to open with, roughly. Do you guys know your typing speeds? Who consider themselves a fast typer? Okay, some good hands. Okay. Who consider themselves a slow typer? It should be everyone else, but okay. All right, fast typers. How many people can type faster than you can speak? Nobody. There's nobody, right? So this is where I think AI, I see the greatest value that AI is playing here as a tool. A lot of these language models have become so good at interpreting what you're saying and converting that into text and cleaning that and formatting. So those of you who are not fast typers will pretty much, find this to be quite valuable. And if you can see over here, there's a tool that's called Whisper Flow. And the way I've set this up is I can basically press something and hold it. And while I'm speaking, it'll try and convert that into text. And then when I let go, it'll convert that into text. So it's such a small, easy thing to do, but this and different dictation modes allow us to basically interact with computers in a much, much faster way. How many of you have used the dictate mode in ChatGPT? How many of you have never heard of this dictate mode in ChatGPT? Everyone's heard of dictate? Okay. So now this is within ChatGPT, right? So, but if you can use pretty much the same kind of chatting or anything within any other document or email or so I can just say, hey, how are you? Let's catch up sometime this week. And then it'll just convert that here. So any tool that you need to type something into, as long as you can articulate it quickly. And if you see here, it's actually done the formatting correctly. Hey, how are you? With a question mark. Let's catch up sometime this week. And it does that pretty much beautifully and consistently across the board. Reason I'm opening with this one is that we use both the dictate mode and we use whisper flow. And in fact, if you're on Macs, there are actually some other free tools which are there as well. And I'll share all the links of everything at the end to whoever has attended over here. But these are some tools that are now coming out that allow you to basically speak in multiple languages or any language, convert that into text. Now, something like this is like a first stepping stone into using these any of the AI tools, etc. And all of these kind of work the same way. As long as you can speak it out, you can put that in. Now, this in combination with the next set of tools. When I say next set of tools, I'm talking about presentation tools. I assume everyone has to create some presentation or the other, right? So usually you'll have to come in and say, hey, I want to present something and you need some slides quickly. Now, there's a whole series of AI tools that have now come out where you can pretty much ask it to create a first draft of any kind of presentation. Now, there are some limitations to them, which I'll come to shortly, but these are getting very, very good. And it's, I still look at these as early stage tools that are just coming out. So for example, let me paste in some text. When I say paste in, I'm going to dictate right now. Create some slides about how AI can be used as a working professional. Let's talk about ChatGPT, Gemini, slide making tools, custom DPTs, using deep research and Notebook LM to learn. Let's talk about the pros and cons of different tools and how we can put them to use. Right? So DPT, so GPT. So you see, I just spoke that out. It's now got something to work with. And based on this, I can say, keep the exact text. So use this as an outline and then just generate something. And I'll just quickly steal that. So this is one tool called Gamma. So that's kind of become my good starting point for generating. I'll just create a fresh account just for this. But there are some other tools as well. So Gamma is again a paid tool, but is currently the leader in this space, and I'll show the outcome of that. This one is a tool called Kimi Slides. This is from China, but they are kind of coming neck to neck with pretty much every application that you see in the world. So I'm just going to go here and then paste in within Kimi Slides. Paste that in. So it's gonna do something. So this is actually gonna go do some research for me and then come back over here. And another tool, again, there are different tools. And the reason I'm just showing this is I want to just make you guys aware of how some of the output comes and comes as a live kind of application. And this is another one that's just recently, and this is literally a few weeks ago, I've come across this. But one of the things that is emerging as a requirement is multiple people being able to edit a file, edit a presentation, etc. And these guys are working on something where you can generate a presentation and quickly share it and have multiple people edit. And they've got some very nice design patterns here. But the combined theme of all these tools is if you need to get slides done in a very quick way and kind of use AI to just get something up on screen. So for example, these are some of the things that I'm going to be covering as well. And you can see it's probably looking cooler than it was. Yeah, I don't think I can make slides this quickly. So I don't think any of us can, but it's a good start. Again, this in the right hands, if you give it right direction, you can get it to be a lot more tailored to your exact message. I gave literally like a 20-second sentence, right? That's the entire brief I gave. ideally, you would want to give a lot more context, and that's the whole science of context engineering. I'll cover that in the future in one of the sessions of how to actually prompt in a more mature way. But if you want to quickly get on stage, and I mean, literally, you could have narrated this, and then by the time you've appeared on stage, the slides would have been ready, right? That wasn't possible at all a couple of months ago. And this is still everything I'm showing you now in my head. This is early days. This is like day 1, day 2. We still have like many years ahead of us, and more permutations, more ideations, etc., will become the norm. Anyway, so these are the slides I just generated. They're perfectly good slides as well. Obviously, I'd want to spend more time and do some more research, but you can see what is capable of this. Has anyone used any AI tools to create presentations before? A couple of you. Good stuff. But Gamma is currently my favorite. Kimi K2 is a pretty decent version which gives you different templates, for example. Let's go ahead and create that. Now, the reason why there's like different tools and etc. is like pretty much everyone in the world is trying to become the number one or the preferred choice of whoever can make the tools, etc. And the nature of these are, there are some that are maturing. So the one I'm sharing with you are the ones that have been stable enough that I would use for my day-to-day use. But it's kind of a wild west of new tools that are emerging. So I make it my job to try them out, see if they're good enough. You can see here, this has still got some minor formatting issues. We can fix those manually as well, but it's good enough for having a quick conversation. Now, what are the limitations of this? One, you still need to edit it if you want to make changes. Probably the biggest pain problem we have is if I already have slides and I want to make them look good without breaking the whole thing, there currently isn't a great tool for it. So in fact, like I'm a hands-on designer as well. So I open the presentation up in Canva, I make some changes and I make that look good. So and this is like, I got asked this multiple times. Is there something that I can just put it in, make it match my template? The nature of PowerPoint as a format itself is not great for that. But I don't know, maybe give it the same conversation next year will be like, yeah, remember the problem last year? It's solved now. So I hope I'll be the bearer of good news in that way. Yes. Okay, so this is doing its own thing. And yeah, while it's doing that, we'll kind of go into this. Okay. Anyone online? All good? Yes.
You explain multiple tools for slide agents. Obviously, these 3 months down the line, how much tools available for slide making? Is there any specific program that you go to and ask this question? Is it ChatGPT or is it Google good enough? Or is there any?
So my current preference for research right now is Perplexity. Does everyone, who's aware of Perplexity? Okay, everyone's aware. Who's got the free Perplexity Airtel offer? There is a free for Airtel. Okay, hopefully that. Guys, if you have Airtel, please make sure that you're not missing out on the Perplexity offer. And if you have Geo, make sure that you don't miss out on Geo's offer for Gemini. And I guess, yeah, if you're everyone else, I think OpenAI Go Free India. Yeah. So for everyone else, well, everybody should just, if you're not on the Plus plan already, make sure that you're making use of these. Right now, this is like the early days of Swiggy and Zomato, or when Uber first came in and just threw offers in everyone's faces. Every AI company wants to be your default company, AI of choice. So make sure that you guys are capitalizing on this.
Vishal, in questions, do we raise hand or how is it going? Sorry.
Yeah, put in the chat. I got Lokesh right next to me, so he will.
Okay. Sure. Thanks, Lokesh.
Yeah. Okay, great question. So for me, if we're looking at research, I would basically start with Perplexity and say, what are the best, what, what are the best AI presentation makers available today? I do type fast, but not as fast as this. Yeah. So you can see over here, there's Gamma, there's Presentations AI, Beautiful AI. There are other ones as well. I found Gamma to be the best one. That's why I was sharing that one as well. Again, they come with their pros and cons. I tend to like Gamma for its overall structuring, and the editability is quite good. I see they have not Perplexity missed this one because this just came out. So I think it's not even covered this one. Yeah. Cool. I will move on. Any other questions on this so far? I guess.
Metrics to be updated in the tech. Do you think for like in case there are recurring things like monthly updates or so, do you think some text to get updated?
You can set something up that keeps the data in one place and then generates slides separately. You'll need to set up some sort of workflow system. So Canva and I think Gamma also allows you to rig up a workflow that pulls the data and then generates slides based on that. I think we can explore that in the future. What I just showed you now is from scratch, just creating a presentation, but potentially you can set up a template that pulls data in. Now, that being said, you don't need AI for that also. Technically, it is just pulling data, some API plugs in and gives you that. But yeah, that would be a good use case. You can see this.
For the open AI offer, is there any way to get in for Indians not living in India?
I will check. There might be some OTP verification or something. It'll go live in November 4th, so we'll know on November 4th. Can use my number if you want. I'm already on the plus plan, so all yours. Cool. But yes, definitely use these tools, etc. A lot of these, it's like driving a car. It's an essential skill in terms of just being able to prompt. And in fact, prompting itself it's a whole science, but it's also something that if you think about talking to a very smart intern who's just joined your company, has no idea of anything else, but you know they're smart. So the more context and the more information you give it, the better it gets. And the more time you've been interacting with it, the more value it will give back to you. And that's the reason why everyone is giving it for free. Because if you pour your heart into ChatGPT, then in 1 year, you can't break up from that because it knows so much about you. Then you talk to Gemini, it's like, I don't want to let go of my best employee. Okay, fine, I'll give him a raise. Whereas I don't want to move everything to Gemini now. It's like a stranger. I'm already married here. Well, pros and cons. So that's why they're giving everything for free so that you get used to them and gets better at you. And it's almost the way I've been using now. My chat GPT is almost finely tuned to the questions I ask, and it'll give responses the way I like it, because many times I've said, don't do this, etc. Okay, very good. Keep generally asking questions. Again, this is more a show and tell. I'm kind of going fairly quickly, quite deliberately. At the same time, if you have any doubts, just keep probing them over here. The idea is to make everyone aware of what's available, what can be done. You saw me just quickly dictate something. You saw me quickly create some slides and get to something that can be presented. Look at that. This itself is like what, 1 week of effort, typically, if you wanted to do something from scratch, but we're able to do it a lot quicker. Okay, so now there's a concept that I want to go into called custom GPTs. And now there's a whole buzzword of AI agents. Does anyone want to take a stab at what an AI agent is? What is an AI agent? Just, I'm curious to know from the audience.
Creating the subset.
Sorry?
It's a model where you are creating the subset.
Okay, it's a model where you're training the subset. Okay. Right. Nice. Nice. Yep. Yeah. Using AI to orchestrate actions. Okay. Very good. Okay. So there's a lot of definitions, which is accurate. You're all correct. You're all right. You're also wrong, but you're all right. So the way AI agents right now is being used as a buzzword right now is that it encompasses anything that we can't explain easily. That's all. That's pretty much what it is. But what I see AI agents is not just as a single not just as a single kind of flow, but as a spectrum in terms of how AI agents work. And I'll flash through these quite quickly. Don't worry if you're not getting all of them. But effectively, there are 5 stages. There's automation, there's complex automation, there's workflows, agentic workflows, and then autonomous AI agents. So again, I'm flashing through this quickly. Don't worry, we'll come back to these in the future sessions, etc. But the whole idea is that we give some instructions and we expect AI to take care of the way it's going to do it, right? So we don't need it to explain all the details in the same way that we don't explain all the details when you're talking to a human being. So we kind of trust that it's going to do certain things for you. Now, a very simple version of that is something called custom GPTs within ChatGPT, and they're called gems in Gemini, and Copilot and others, they all have some sort of version of this. And one of the use cases that we use it in our organization for is when we are reviewing candidates for certain jobs. So the use case was basically we get CVs a lot as anyone doing recruiting, and we want to quickly analyze and score it in terms of, well, does it fit what we're looking for? So typically, whenever we open for any sort of job application, we get at least 100 responses. And it takes somebody like our HR to kind of just go through. And my standard question is, what are the pros and cons? And start with the cons, because everyone has pros. So tell me why we shouldn't hire this person. And so if you see over here, what I've set up over here within the ChatGPT's custom ChatGPT is the key instructions of this agent. Now, if you see this entire text, this is basically something you can type into ChatGPT. So I can actually just take this, I can open ChatGPT, I can paste this in, and then I can attach a CV as well, along with a job description. And it will take the job description, it'll take the CV, it'll analyze both of them and give me a score. And there are certain keywords here, which is which goes into the prompt creation, which is making sure you give it a role, you give very specific instructions, you give what are the pros, you give examples of cons, you give almost a mathematical formula and compute it, you give exactly what we're looking for, and then we tabulate the response. So it'll actually give me a table at the end. So this is a simple prompt. So if I take this prompt and I put this inside a custom GPT, like here, and I basically I can add more documents. I can say, hey, here is our company hiring policy, is our company values. Here are some other examples of good CVs, whatever it is. And I can say, also search on the internet if you need more information. And if I want, I can use it to generate images, etc. And at the end, I'm left with basically my first, I would say, AI agent in the sense, which is a customized chat GPT that has a specific personality. It has access to some tools, where tools here are the capabilities as well as the files. And now this entire entity that is over here will act as a CV reviewer. Like that is the job of this particular agent. So the front end is this, and the back end is basically the mystery of ChatGPT's entire backend. But I can upload any CV and it'll analyze and give that to me. In fact, I should have a CV on.
Hey Vishal, sorry to interrupt at this point, but I quite did not get which tool did you use to create your CV reviewer agent?
Yeah. So I am currently in ChatGPT. Thank you so much for the question. Thank you. So I'm currently in ChatGPT. As you can see over here, if I just go home to ChatGPT, this should be a familiar screen. In fact, the sixth option on your left should be GPTs and explore. And then you can go to my GPTs or create. So my GPT is one I've created already. And then you can see different ones that I've got here. This was to create a customer support. Like we were just testing, creating a customer support agent where we uploaded all the PDFs of our client software. And we were testing whether enough content was there to generate the chatbot response. So, yeah. So on the left side, ChatGPTs, Explore, and then on the top would have been my GPTs. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. So this must be the paid version of the Chat GPT, right? Because we don't see these
This
prompts.
this would be Explore GPT should be there. If not, it will probably be in Go. But
Okay.
yeah, this should be there in the free as well. But okay, I will confirm that.
Vishal, creating requires a Plus account. So
That's
you can look at the existing GPTs, but you cannot create your own
Great
GPT.
one. Okay. Okay. Sure. I think they'll add that in the Go that's coming up soon. So we'll get you an India account as well.
Sorry, like how are the responses from the support agents? Like, are you able to use it in production?
This was just for testing when we were building this out, etc. We made sure that we had enough documents. The interface of this will be like you can basically share this with anyone or you can publish it, etc. It's decent enough for internal use. I wouldn't use these for
On website, etc.
for a full website and stuff. Yeah. Again, if you had mission critical stuff, you would use another software. I can share some of the ones that we have tried and used as well. But this is good enough for internal training. So in fact, I used to use this often for training until I found something better, which I'll show you for internal training and use. But
I have a question.
yeah.
Doesn't this agent do the WhatsApp chat box where the company can interact with it?
So not this one. So the one within ChatGPT stays within ChatGPT. It's like a mini Las Vegas here. But there's different workflow systems that allow you to connect to from anything to anything. And that is, section 7 here, which I'll just preview that. So if you want to create a WhatsApp chatbot, then you can use the other workflow systems where the agent is there and then the output is either a chat in the message, like in a website, or reply via email, or reply on WhatsApp, or reply on Telegram, or reply on Slack, etc. Like the output can be anything. The input is, your engine is your AI agent system. Yeah. I think not. I think not in Perplexity. Let me just confirm that. I'll confirm that. But basically, Perplexity it's got a few research kind of boxes, which you can kind of generate. But yeah, I think you can do a version of it, but not it doesn't have all the tools that ChatGPT has. But since you asked that question right after this whole presentation, I will test it and let you know. Like it's now my personal. You have awoken my curiosity on this one. Good. Yeah.
Deep research.
Yes.
For example, if I want to compare the brand equity model,
Yeah.
the city brand models.
Yeah.
What do I use? So far, I've been using Gemini deep research. Not the regular.
Yep. Yep. So I think that leads very nicely into my next part, which I was going to showcase about deep research. Any other questions on general custom GPTs and stuff?
Yeah, hi, Vishal. I'm Vikas. Just how you elaborated last, CV support agent or previous one. The recording has stopped. Yeah. So in that, is it possible that I have developed one agent, personal agent, or which I can call on our own CRM tool, something like that?
Not within this particular ChatGPT's flows. You will need something that's a more complex workflow system, which I will preview very soon. Then you can connect anything to anything. So you can connect your database, you can connect Google Docs, anything that you want into an AI in the middle, and then on the right side, you can have any output that you want. So I'll come back to that. I think that seems to be a common question. So I'll come back to
Okay.
that. Okay, cool.
Fine. Thank you.
Please do keep typing in any other questions over here. Lokesh, anything?
Perplexity Pro with Airtel is not available on App Store. Where Airtel is not available? I
Okay.
have Airtel postpaid on it,
Okay.
but Perplexity Pro is not available in my region.
Okay.
I think you
I've
have to go to the app.
in the Airtel app, it will be there. Yeah. Thank you. Answers from the community here. So open up the app, Airtel app, and then there should be probably a banner or a button that says get your free offer, something like that.
Yeah, actually you have to scroll almost to the bottom and there it'll say AI unlock for you, claim now, and then you give your credentials.
That's thank you guys for answering that question. I did not know the answer, but that's the beauty of the community. So thank you. Okay. All right. So I'll now get into deep research. How many of you have used deep research? I know at least a couple of people. It's very good. Gemini deep, that's fine. Any deep research, right? I just want to get into that. So one of the ways that we use deep research, so I use deep research now to create ideas, I mean, research ideas, research products, etc. But probably as a business, the most valuable for me is these 6-7 lines. So I'll just read it out. Retrieve PDFs of RFPs and tenders in India and Australia where the requirement is any of the following: mobile app, AI agent, UI, UX, etc. Summarize in a table of requirement: name, company, URL, when the tender's last date of submission is, avoid returning any finished tenders. Provide both government and private RFPs in any language. Do not ask any questions, simply start. So the first version was actually this. Then I realized that, okay, it's asking a follow-up question. That's why I said, don't ask me. So I've got deep research running in Claude and Gemini and ChatGPT. I had to run this like an hour before this call because otherwise you'd be staring at a loading screen of 20 minutes, etc. So you can see over here, I'll start with, I think Gemini does a good job. Now what deep research does is basically go into the internet, search for at least, I think how many of these, it must have gone through some 150 different websites, anything that it could find. And it's able to pull up some reasonably good opportunities for me, right? So these are active RFPs in India, last date of submission 26 November, development of an artificial intelligence agent for the Bihar State Pollution Board, right? So this is like gold mine for our team. And all I do is I kind of run this manually at the moment because we doesn't apparently change that much on regular basis. So we pull out these tenders, we read, go through them. In fact, there's another tool that we use now. We've got a custom GPT, not on my account, but with our Grow Team's account, where the custom GPT is already trained towards analyzing like whether we qualify or not, and based on the qualifications, whether we're likely to win or not, and then also estimate the size, give me a pricing, give me a timeline for the RFP. So in the time that it would have taken to open, download the entire thing, I can just upload it and then spend about 30 seconds. It'll tell me go, no go, go, yes, it's worth 25 lakhs and it's a 6 months project for you. It'll take 6 people. Here are the risks, etc. Right? So all of that has been fed into that custom GPT. We are now converting that into a tool that others can use as a SaaS. So if you want a tool for managing or quickly responding to RFPs, we can have a chat about that. But something that you guys can have, and I'm happy to give this away. This is, yeah, there's stuff I give away that I shouldn't, but yes, why not? If you can, if you see it, you can recreate it. This is not rocket science, but I hope what I'm trying to say here is, once you're aware of this possibility, this is just RFPs, but think in your own business. Is there any opportunity that, if you spend like a good 1-2 days on the internet searching for, it'll be there? Convert that into a deep research prompt and then just systemize it every week. Just run it and see what's happening. And you will get stuff like this. So for example, we have a good presence in Australia as well. And these are opportunities in Australia that I can get into. So one is from tenders.gov, one is from Ilian, etc. So it's picked up a few that are available in some of the common sites. Every now and then it picks up stuff that are not on tender websites. And so for me, that's like a huge value add because there's no way I would have found it on my own. And of course, it does a lot of extra fluff, but you can see all the places that it has searched. Now,
So Vishal, you are using ChatGPT for this deep research prompt as well?
yes, so for ChatGPT, I've done something similar. So I've ran the same thing on ChatGPT, and in fact, it's kind of combined a few things. So within ChatGPT, this is the output. So this is ChatGPT's deep research. It's only gone through 16 sources, but it has found something interesting for me. A mobile app from the ICIA, another institute wants a chatbot, Australia wants a web platform. Yeah. So the Gujarat government. So this is, see, this is interesting for me, right? So this is the Gujarat gov.in, which means that it should be, but it's not from the GEM portal. So there are a lot of private RFPs and tenders which don't go on the standard portals that deep research is able to fill out. Now, ChatGPT does a decent job of finding a few. Gemini does a decent job of finding a few. I've also got Claude over here. So Claude's my typical nowadays friend for any development and research. And they've also got their version of deep research. Claude takes a lot more sources. Like, how long would it take to read through 475 websites? Like, just not, it's like, it's not even a question. It's able to pick up certain things and say that, hey, these are some opportunities, pay tender services, but other tenders that are available, it'll kind of put it here. So just let this run in the back of your mind in terms of how do I use this sort of tool to find leads for me, and I can share this exact string. There's no magic around this, but the more you use it, you can probably fine tune it down to your specific industry, etc. So I'm on the Plus account, and deep research I think is limited number of times per month. So if you pay, you get, I think, 20, 30, 40 users. The free version maybe is in single digits, 2 or 4 users per month or something like that. Yeah.
This you gave it to deep research.
Yeah.
What if you gave this question to the fundamentals, the basic one? How
We will find that out.
Vishal, one question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what means like what makes it qualify a particular prompt as a deep research? Because I don't think there is any specific button calling deep research in ChatGPT. So in like what context it classified it as a deep research?
Yes, and I think I made the mistake of kind of just showing you the output, but in fact, there is a button for deep research. So
Okay.
when you give a prompt, you can either choose nothing, or you can choose, say, web search, which will kind of be the first cut of searching on ChatGPT, or you can choose deep research, which will then take the same thing but run it in a much longer search at a time. So this version it kind of realized that retrieve PDF means it will not have it in its own LLM history. And typically the way ChatGPT and all these models are is they've been trained months ago, right? As of November 2024, here are the opportunities, which is useless from a business perspective. And so ChatGPT knows when it says retrieve, please retrieve it from the internet. You can see here somehow the bland version has not got anything, but this web search has done a decent job of finding a few. And yeah, that's more. And I can, by the way, I can say, please search for more, please search for more, and just nag it to get some more for me.
Vishal, sorry, just very quickly, we stopped recording a few minutes ago, and it's not put back on.
That pattern note taker is running.
No, record. Is it not recording? I thought it's.
It was, but a few minutes ago it said stopped recording, and I thought that was only for that specific period, but it's still not recording.
I recorded mine. Thanks for that, Abhishek. I think I thought we were recording. Okay.
One more question, Vishal. So like the prompt engineering is the heart of all the like GPTs and research, deep research and other things. So what would be the best mode of learning prompt engineering?
The best way to learn is by doing and kind of watching how others do to some extent. So what you're seeing here is a sort of little flavor of prompt engineering. You could have just said, um, find me tenders. But if you see from an example, that's find me tenders and some specific things, giving a very specific output, like saying, I want a table in this output, right? So there are certain best practices for different use cases. So some of them you can go lean on. Some of them are more complex. Where, for example, I was working with another founder where we have almost a 6-page prompt that runs for 45 minutes. I produce a deep research report. That value of that one report is around $10,000. It used to take her 4 weeks to do it. It does it entirely in about 45 minutes. So something like that, that took about 5 different, like almost 5 hours, multiple back and forths to fine tune that prompt to the point where we got the final result. Now, on your day-to-day use, you'll probably want something that is a clear objective with a clear output of what you want and certain rules in terms of saying, do this, do that, or don't do this, etc. So pretty much practice probably makes you perfect, and just being aware of how others do it will make sense. I'll share probably a specific document that or a visual at a later point in terms of how to create prompts. And one of the future sessions will be focused only on prompt engineering and context engineering, because that's something that's quite valuable. I hope that preview made sense. Yeah.
There was this Deloitte AI scandal that happened recently due to
Australia.
AI hallucination. Okay. How do we make sure that AI tool is giving us the correct info while doing deep research and not hallucinating?
Yeah. So just a quick context of this for those who don't know. Deloitte in Australia submitted a report, and in that report, they referenced certain quotes and messages that when the guy who received the report was like, I know these people and they've never said that, and that doesn't exist. And so at that time, they had realized that the entire quote was made up. So this was some time back, and I know it just came out now, but almost like this is a 6 months ago problem. But it still does happen every now and then. There are certain things that we do to make sure, one, it doesn't make up things. So for example, you can say that every fact, when you're writing the prompt, you can say every fact must have a source next to it, right? So when you do your deep research, etc., every fact must have a source. Secondly, I find that Perplexity does a really good job. It's baked in Perplexity and Perplexity's own deep research mode. So in Perplexity, you can see here there is a research and there's a deep research mode. So these guys have done, like, they focused their entire energy on making sure that every fact does actually reference something else. And Perplexity, in fact, sits on top of OpenAI's backend. Like, it's the running joke is Perplexity is like the most expensive wrapper. They don't have their own base thinking model, but the application level is so good that you can kind of rely on it.
Sources from all places based on the context on the prompt that I did.
Yes, so it sources from multiple places, and the thinking itself actually uses OpenAI's own model. But the logic of that reference every fact with some sort of source is something that Perplexity has invested a lot of money in, try to reduce hallucinations. And probably the third technique that we do is, when you create a report, upload it back into Perplexity or Gemini or etc., and say, please verify every single line in this report. So use one AI model to create your report. You can use the same one again to verify, but use another one with deep research enabled to check that entire report again. It was quite interesting. We we're going through a pharma use case where one model had generated an entire output, and then we uploaded that into other models to kind of say that please assess this for any issues in the way that the report was created. So the approach as well as the facts. So in the approach also, it analyzed and found that, hey, it made the first model made some assumptions which are not valid. And we actually said this was made by another AI model in Perplexity. And Perplexity, that other AI model is not very good. So it like kind of reference the. So every now and then you can try it. It's kind of funny. I don't know if it's 100%, competent that's built in, but it's like, yeah. You will find that the other model has made several flaws that I have found and I have fixed, like almost a sense of authority. But the fundamental takeaway is use one model, use multiple models. Don't just rely on one, especially you're doing something that is very sensitive and requires backing. Perplexity right now is the leader of that. But pretty much, if something is that important, I would upload the final report into ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity, Claude, and just say, find any issues in this report, and again, validate every sentence. And then I take all of those and then say that, okay. Because again, the effort for me is copy the prompt, paste it, upload file, copy prompt, paste it, upload file. 4 times I can run it in parallel and just validate. Yeah, so Deloitte should have done that. But yes. It's low, but I view it as, it's almost like I hire for, I don't want to say grads, but IIM grads, and basically say, please research all of these and find any flaws. And I basically trust in the fact that I've hired 4 smart people and hopefully they will not miss anything. But there may be something I slip up, but it's remarkably low, right? So it's, the more models are keeping their eyes on it, the better it gets. It's still not 100%, but it's very, very close to it. Yeah. Okay. So
It's better for online search, research.
yes.
For example, the RFP that would Perplexity be more complicated with recent online searches as compared to.
In fact, you're right. I did not. For some of these where I need something very time sensitive, different AI, it's a bit of rolling the dice every now and then, where even the same prompt, if I run it twice in the same engine, will give me a slightly different output. It just depends on what links that particular time that model picked up and went with. So my favorites right now are Gemini and Perplexity for doing different types of research. Claude and ChatGPT is sort of tier 2 in terms of those deep researches, etc. for this use case. But there are other use cases, like if I'm searching, trying to do some product design, then, like ChatGPT's deep research and Perplexity deep research is very good. But for deep research overall, Perplexity I'd put at the top in terms of reference and searching multiple sources. Yeah. The answer to that question is like, I have to almost timestamp every time I say something is good. So as of November 1st, this is my answer. Like, just saying. Yeah, exactly. It's like, so by the time there's like a video and recording, and then, like 2 months later, if it goes live, then it's like, yeah, that's no longer true. So every answer today is as of November 1st. Okay, so it's trying to do this thing. All right. Okay, good. Okay, so we are now 7:25. So we got about a half an hour of solid time, and keep the questions coming. I'll assume that there's no backlog of questions when we're done with this. So if you have any questions, type it in. Lokesh is reading them out. Or if you're in person, you can ask me live, or you can ask me after this as well. But yes, okay. I will now just show a tool here called Notebook LM. Just jump straight into it. How many of you have heard of Notebook LM? How many have used Notebook LM in the last 30 days? Curious to know, what do you guys use Notebook LM for? Anyone who raise their hands, what do you use it for? Just give me an example.
Recordings. We take recordings of meetings and.
Nice. Okay. Summaries. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Needs research paper.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, so I think both use cases to some extent we use as well. Notebook LM, I hope most of you guys are familiar with. It's a tool from Google. And for a while, this was like the best possible source of creating a podcast out of any content. And it's a great way to learn. So one of the ways we use it for is, again, meeting transcripts we upload, we ask it to summarize, etc. But more recently, For example, we wanted to use it for learning about an application. So literally, a client that we onboarded, here is a meeting transcript and then a document that they had shared. And so you can see over here, we've created quick presentations. So literally within, it takes about 5-10 minutes to kind of compile the whole presentation. But
all right, today we're doing something really cool. We are going deep inside the engine room of a global insurtech platform, Argo CD.
Yeah. So this was we were doing a technical handover from this client, and we uploaded these documents. And what Notebook allows you to do is you can upload all the source of information you want if you want to learn something, and it'll create a nice.
It's a whole suite of different tools, each one built for a specific.
It'll create a nice training video that's like a nice 6-minute video. And what caught my surprise as well is the fact that you can create a podcast in like Telugu, Hindi.
ఓకే ఈ రోజు మన దగ్గర ఒక ఆసక్తికరమైన అంతర్గత మీటింగ్ రికార్డింగ్ ఉంది.
So yeah, so I mean, this is amazing, right? For me, this is like one of the most brilliant ways of using or kind of packaging an AI solution is if you have content and you want to train it in a completely different language, you can actually create that in all these languages here. French, let me see. Okay, I didn't want to make Kannada missing look bad here given today's day, but Telugu close enough. I'll just call it that. And just having this allows you to create, this is a 20-minute podcast. So literally we made this, downloaded this, and just said, hey, everyone listen to this on your drive home or in your morning or your break, etc. Right? And so it's very interesting. This is like a very niche insurance, within insurance, some backend APIs for products, like very deep into the domain, but converting that into Telugu and then just putting it in a nice, exciting way. And you can see the voice.
ఒక టెక్ కంపెనీ
What Notebook LM does really well is it creates a podcast with two voices. So it's a conversation between two people, very much like the podcast between the video that all of you hopefully have seen. At least the first 5 seconds. That was, yeah, we worked hard for that, man. I mean, we could have done it, but at least the first video has to be manually done.
క్వాంటానా లేదా స్టీర్ అనుకోవచ్చు.
ఒక మాన్యువల్ అప్రూవల్ గేట్ పెట్టారు అంటే
ఓ
Yeah.
Is it you're using a lot of confidential documents and is it safe? Because we are just putting the reference in that and that's analyze.
Yeah.
But we don't know where who can access those confidential documents.
Okay. So yeah. Right. So, I mean, I think there's generally a fear of what is happening to my files. How many of you guys use Gmail or Office Mail or? Yeah. Okay. So all of these technologies obviously are owned by or sitting on Google servers, Microsoft servers, etc. So there's one level of security or a concern which we have already accepted in life, that if I upload it into Gmail, it is safe. Now, how safe it is your own thing, right? Like, so that's one level. Now, there's a second level that we are generally worried about, which is whether my data is being used to train another AI model. Now, that is, I would say, a more valid concern. And you will see in different settings that you'll have an option to disable training. So by default, when a lot of AI software was given away for free, the general concept if the product is free, you are the product, right? So Facebook, you are the person that is being sold to advertisers. So just keep that in mind. Now the nature of these tools, etc., is there's an option to either keep it as a safe mode or training mode, or don't use it to train something else. So if you have like enterprise data with client information, you would probably want to take an enterprise plan with Microsoft Azure, etc. And that is legally as secure as you can get. At best, they would sandbox it into something that's running within like one space, etc. Like I know all the major companies, PwC, McKinsey, etc. They have like custom contracts saying that do not use this data for anything else. And by default, in fact, in ChatGPT, most of the settings used to be like when you first came on, you would have had, let's see, data controls. Yeah, there's an option here in data controls, improve the model for everyone. Now, that sounds positive. So you'd feel like, yeah, why not? The answer is no. Leave it as no. Then it says, allow your content to be used to train by models. So I always make sure it's off and make sure that everything is off everywhere. Otherwise, yeah, it'll be used to train. Now, there were some reports earlier, like last year, where somebody had you could see if you search even now that there will be some data somebody has uploaded on the internet or somewhere else that was used to train today's model. So you can actually ask like, hey, give me valid emails of these particular contacts, and somebody would have uploaded that document somewhere. So we just have to be overall careful now of uploading anything to anywhere at the moment, because like deep research will dig up 400 links, and accidentally if you kept one of those links as public even on your own website, that's free for all. That's your fault that you didn't secure it. But that being said, the way I see this right now is as much as possible turn off training, but pretty much start using these tools. If you have clients that require like SOC 2, HIPAA, and all of that, you're probably at a very mature stage where you need to have those enterprise agreements so that the data is not used. Or the highest level, for example, we are implementing like Quen models and other OSS, GPT OSS models, which are these open source models running on a custom, like a virtual private cloud that we are like managing and sitting on the client's account. So inside their Azure account, they can go physically at least log in and see that, yeah, it is not going out of this system. So like for a pharma client, we're implementing something like that. That's like the highest tier. But for most day to day, this is the best you can do. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Any questions here?
No.
Okay. So just coming back to Notebook LM, again, there's a lot of use cases. Notebook, they've designed specifically for learning. This is something like everyone in our company has. So we are on the Google platform. So as a G Suite, so Notebook LM, Gemini, like that's just the default that everyone kind of goes to. And specifically this, this Telugu podcast and these quizzes. So we use these quizzes as well, where if we need to generate something that we can use to learn. And one of the interesting things is we use quizzes to teach ourselves and challenge ourselves. I think there's generally a concern that, well, I'm using this AI, am I becoming dumber? Right? Again, that's probably the wrong way to look at it. It's almost like if I've hired, again, a smart IIM grad, and then I stop thinking because I've hired him, then that's on you, right? Right? So you can say that, okay, now you do everything, give me the report. I will not look at it, I will send it out. Like that's not how you operate as a human being. So why do the same thing with AI as well, right? So it's just another tool, it's just another, like a virtual human. So it's still on you, one, to get the work done, to do the reviews. But now you also have this additional feature within AI, which I guess very few people actually do, is you can ask it to either teach you things or challenge you in different ways. So you can say, here is this report. Now assess my understanding of this. Right. Which I'll just show very quickly over here. So for example, how many of you have used this mode, the voice mode in ChatGPT? Okay. Most people. Who hasn't used it? Okay, cool. So voice mode is, I think, a fantastic tool. I use it primarily when I'm driving, when I can't use anything else, and I want some partner to brainstorm with. So I can basically say something like, I'm going to use a dictate, act like a marketing expert and help me with my digital marketing problems where I need to generate leads using SEO, GEO, and other marketing techniques. I want to keep my budget low. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna build itself a little thing. Okay. So sometimes what I do when I want to ask a question is, instead of asking the question right away, I'll first set up the context. So I'll say I'm creating this persona now. So now this particular chat window has the context of marketing, has the context of setting up, has the context of SEO, has the context of GEO. And this context is now directly available. And this is generally how people think, right? Like if I'm giving you a problem statement, I expect you to read up on something and then come to me and then say that, hey, let's talk about this. You might already know it, but even like an internal 10-minute brainstorm and just write down your thoughts will just increase your ability to think and solve that problem at that time. So hey.
Hey there, ready to roll up our sleeves and tackle some more marketing wizardry? Just let me know which part of the playbook you want to dive deeper into, or if there's another angle you want to explore. I'm all ears.
Yeah, I'm looking for help for a clothing manufacturer and how we can increase their sales. Can you suggest some ideas?
Absolutely. Let's cook up some ideas for a clothing manufacturer to boost those sales. And I'll keep it straight and a bit witty, as promised. Micro influencer partnerships, aka budget friendly bars who cost a fortune. Go for micro influencers.
Okay. It can keep going on. But I hope what you saw over here is I set up the persona, I let it sort of think about what are some ideas, and then I switched on the voice mode and then got into a specific use case. So now this I can use for anything else as well. Now I could have gone straight into voice mode and said, now give me answers as a marketing expert. But the speed of the voice mode itself means that it is thinking only at the speed of voice. Whereas what you saw here is like, 8 different strategies and ideas that's already baked in. And so now when I activate voice mode, it's going to have all of that context brought into the front of the memory so that it can give you those insights much better. So again, this is one of the subtle things that I guess it's not even documented anywhere. In fact, yeah, this is something that I do almost out of habit because I realize that, oh, my responses are smarter if I have a chat first and then switch to voice rather than opening up voice directly. So hopefully that gave you some sense of how these tools can be used. Okay, but yes, voice mode. Who drives here? Generally drives alone. Yeah, driving alone and voice mode is like made for each other. There was a good acquaintance of mine who used to talk to me a lot, generally opening up into like I was almost his therapist. And slowly those conversations went down. I was like, man, we don't talk anymore. It's like, yeah, man, these days, I think ChatGPT is my therapist. So I've kind of gone into that. So I'm like done speaking, I guess. I'm like, oh, okay. So yes, ChatGPT is also a fairly good therapist. Don't go too hard into it. And don't listen to everything when it says great idea. Yeah, yeah. It's a great idea. It's like, I think I'll throw out all my clothes. Great idea. It's like, by the way, yeah.
In ChatGPT, and sometimes when you're putting in some questions, something like, like a therapist like you talk, or, something like, tell me something about myself that I don't know. And I think at some point it tries to get onto a pleasing mode with you rather than being critical.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give you critical feedback. What are your thoughts?
So by default, every LLM is like coded into helping and supporting. So in fact, what you would want to do is like, if you see mine, you can put a custom instruction that kind of acts on top of the default response or default prompt. So every prompt will be sent with a hidden line saying that take a forward-thinking view, use quick and clever humor when appropriate, tell it like it is, don't sugarcoat responses.
Monday free.
Hmm.
A lot of response when you get into a personal mode, I was reading more as research, that it was too sugar-coated.
So this is a setting in ChatGPT that basically overrides the default, wow, you are so amazing, and kind of just says, great, but this, watch out for this. In fact, you can also add something like act like my mother-in-law, give me You get the idea. I kind of just wanted to make that memorable. But you can basically say, take on this persona and give me your whatever the response is. And you can also say that, yeah, always challenge my thinking and whatever it is, right? So you are in control of this. And most people don't realize this because they kind of go with the default of be happy and tell me as it is. In fact, you can see there's some more options that are already there. Yeah, straight shooting, forward thinking. I do like a little fun, so I said quick and humor. I didn't want to be dry facts. Some people like dry facts, just give me the facts as is. So this is the one. And you can choose, oh, there you go. See, cynic, critical and sarcastic, robotic, nerd. Hey, that's me. Yeah, so I find myself here. There you go. So, but yes, you should definitely do this. Yeah. I honestly cannot remember where it's only in free. Somebody can check out live and let us know if it's there in the free one. But even if it's not in the free one, you can kind of put this at the end. Yeah, just if you know that you want it to kind of just tell it as it is, then just add that at the end. You can just copy paste that. Like literally that particular RFP prompt, I just copy pasted. I could have built a whole workflow around it. Then I realized, yeah, I could spend 6 hours automating something that I use once a week and just takes 30 seconds to run. So let's not burn the time where it's not needed. Yeah. Okay, so we're at
So is it like a better wrapper or ChatGPT for creating summaries?
So Notebook LM is a solution from Google. So it uses Gemini models internally, and they've kind of made it a very good system for research, learning, and gathering ideas. So it's not meant to like go research something outside, or you can also do that. But it's like its key thing, if you see the user experience, right? So on the left side is all sources of information. So you can either discover, go online and find it, or you can upload existing documentation. So it's very good at working within a set space of information. So meeting transcripts. So just as an example, we had multiple workshops with a client, which I guess I can't blur it, but imagine you can't read the client name. And I'm calling too much attention to that, but these are all the meetings we've had. And then I can basically say, summarize the key screens needed. And it's actually taken the summary of all 7 sources and put these over here. And using this, for example, we can generate a quick visual based on what are all the features that we discuss. So key principles that we discuss. Again, it's trying to present it in a way that's meant for easier learning and consumption of a lot of information. But you can see here, it's got all the screens that we want to build. Again, we're a design agency for apps. So all the screens that we had discussed across 7 meetings is compressed now into these. So I can use this now to send it to my design team, or even use AI to build some screens and prototypes. Again, there's a lot more we can get through from this. If you want to learn specifically about how we use AI to build software products, I mean, I can spend a whole month on that. Not for today.
How good or effective AI is in developing code? If you give a requirement, explain it, give the context, give coding standards, etc.
Yeah.
How effective is it?
So it still needs a lot of manual intervention. So in the right hands, it goes very fast. So it increases productivity between 30 to 50%. But it almost opens up new challenges in terms of you need to spend a lot more time reviewing the interactions and cross-checking when other humans are involved, etc. So, but we're able to go a lot faster than we used to. And
are you using for generating code in your organization?
yes. So this is probably a more extreme way of doing it, but I've got 3 different companies working on the same project. On the left side is ChatGPT's flow, where I can say, okay, let's see, check for spelling mistakes on the home page. And then I'll open up Gemini over here. Now check for spelling mistakes on the privacy policy page, and then check for spelling mistakes on the terms and conditions page. So yeah, you can see I type reasonably quickly, so out of habit, but you can see over here there's one AI agent from ChatGPT which is running on this. Didn't find mistakes. This is Gemini, which is from Google, which is again checking these pages and hopefully finding, oh, this has gone in a different direction to try and add something. And this is again checking in a different thing. So this is kind of the future of coding where each person should be able to manage multiple agents, but this effectively has access to this particular project and the entire code base. It's able to run it, it's able to test it. And there are some best practices around programming as well, which is in terms of give the entire context of the application upfront and save it as a file and say that whenever the prompt is, whenever you're running and making changes, check the plan first and then make the change. So built into all of this is a lot of that functionality. Yeah. Yeah, this is Gemini's coding agent. So it's specifically for coding that kind of fits into this. And with, I think, the free tier of the version that you have, it also is, you get about 100 users per day. Gemini is very generous. They want you to use it, etc. I find that ChatGPT's Codex is the fastest, is the slowest, but best. Claude is the best for programming right now. In fact, all the best AI coding tools use Anthropic Claude's model in the backend. And Gemini is kind of intermediate in both speed and quality, etc. So again, this itself is a whole gamut of things in terms of the kind of tools that are available. And again, there's not to kind of get into this, but we at Quantana, our company, we use basically a mix of different AI LLM systems. These two are Chinese, by the way. Some of you will recognize DeepSeek. For coding, these are different AI modules. You've seen Gemini, which I just showed you. There are other tools, etc. These are prototyping tools, which give you a nice front end, but back end is kind of questionable. You saw presentations just now. N8N, I'll just preview before we end up for today. We use different tools for meetings specifically. So in fact, we're big fans of something called Otter, which just handles all of our meetings and transcriptions. Now we can't live without it. And it's kind of become like a flow where every meeting that's recorded, the transcript is sent to a junior growth associate. They take the transcript and prepare the entire first draft of the proposal and basically bring it up for review. So what used to take us like, okay, guys, remember what we typed down? Okay, now based on create these slides, a senior person or a very junior person handles that entirely from scratch. Just as long as we speak it in the meeting, we have faith it's captured. Yeah. So Otter is purely for capturing meetings. And I'll just show you Otter.
Okay, also that HUF is one of the best ways to save tax, right? जिनको नहीं पता, so basically HUF is an entity which you can form on paper with your family members only, जिससे आपके घर पे एक extra PAN card आ जाता है. And extra PAN card means like lakhs of tax savings legally.
Already my presentation is on.
Effective tool होने के बावजूद लोग इसको नहीं use करते हैं.
Maybe just mute Vishal.
That they think कि HUF form करने के लिए आपको 3
Is that my end?
No. I found it.
I found it. Okay. So example, this meeting, I just initiated the recording of like about 20 minutes back, and it is capturing what I am saying live. So now I can also have a conversation with this and say that, or catch me up on the conversation. Let's just say it's a existing pre-button. So if you're joining a minute late, or if you're just joining to a meeting late and hopefully somebody's got Otter on, or your own Otter automatically joins. So yeah, let's see, it's somehow not saying anything. Hi. Yes, I think Murphy's law is kicking in, so very good. But if that happens, then I would just take the whole transcript and then maybe just put it into ChatGPT and say, yeah. Okay, a lot of things are seemingly going wrong on this.
Center rate is not captured, but
It's not.
I observed this.
No, it is seemingly not doing this, but right after the call, typically we take a transcript. So maybe I'll just show you like an existing meeting that was done. Yeah, so you can see over here, I was helping somebody with their newsletter automation. So I can just export all of that into a single chat. Depending on the kind of conversation I'm having, I'm just going to throw into here, summarize the workflow. And it'll kind of spin. Very close to time. So if you have any questions, please do pop them in. This is taking, yeah. So this is, by the way, how, when you think out loud, this is the reasoning or the thinking out loud that AI models do. And they found that this step is so important to higher quality output. And you can see here, the entire conversations we had, which is like a 1 hour conversation, it's nicely divided into stage 1, stage 2, and then all the pieces inside, right? So this kind of processing is now possible. Yeah, we barely go through recordings and meetings anymore. We just ask AI to quickly summarize it. All right, in the interest of time and just showing a few more things, I'll just show you a couple of things that we use now in Gemini. How many of you guys have used Nano Banana? How many of you guys know Nano Banana? Heard of Nano Banana? Okay, use Nano Banana. Use Nano Banana 1. Okay, cool. Okay, so Nano Banana is a Nano Banana is a image generator and image editor, and in the spirit of something, we are now using this language. So you can use it to generate images and make edits to images. And I'll show you how we've been using it for very small things. So let's say we found an image online and we just want to change the text. So literally just this, you can just ask it to change the text. This used to be a designer's job. So when you say when AI will take over somebody's jobs, this is a designer who's not been asked to do this because now it can be done this way. That's a whole different topic. But for now, I'm focusing on the possibilities. So just run with me on this one. So just as an example, another use case that we had is it was somebody's birthday. It was a client's birthday, and this was a client. I mean, this was the logo of the client. And so I just asked AI to take the logo and create an image of a happy birthday cake. So it created that image, and I made a couple of changes. I wanted to get the top-down view, and then angle it this way. You can see it, right? I asked it to change the angle and all of that. So I got this nice little thing, which looks like a real cake that we baked for them, right? And when they say that it's the thought that counts, I'd say a photo counts. Yeah, we baked the cake. And then why stop at a photo, right? So we basically created a video out of this. That's it. So we shared this and it was like extremely happy. It's like, wow, you put so much effort. I mean, not as much effort of baking a cake, but it's like, yeah. I mean, I could have taken a photo of me with eating cake and then, but you can see like this is now possible. This is just a very, yes, sorry, question. Sorry?
Canva.
Okay, I'll come to Canva in the limited time we have. Canva itself is a whole design suite, which I will come right at the very end. Maybe that's a bonus because you're here, but I wanted to end on time. As of today, yes. As of November 1st, 7:55 p.m. IST. Because if you are serious about generating images and you want to do it at scale, right now, Comfy UI is a platform that's specifically designed for very complex image workflows. And they can fish from all of these models like Flux, Quen. Yeah, these are models that are just coming out. WAN 2.0 is doing really well. These are all open source models. Some are closed source, some are all of these. But you stitch this workflow together and you can create ads. And a lot of the major companies in the world are experimenting with this open source tool. So it's Comfy UI. So what I showed you is good enough for like personal use, but if your production use, you'd want to run your own GPUs, you want to connect. So the most powerful modular diffusion GUI, internally use a lot of things. My laptop, unfortunately, is not powerful enough to run all of the models. So you would need dedicated hardware for it. But for simple one-off cases, I mean, literally the kind of stuff that I'm doing is there's another friend that I'm removing the hair. This is for a wedding invitation. So again, small things. This would have been like a very painful thing to do on a Photoshop, etc. But this is like 1 second. As long as you know how to prompt it, it kind of does that. But you can see different iterations where I kept going wrong on. Another interesting use case. So I was bouncing off an idea with somebody in terms of, I want to create a new product that can sell lingerie via mail. And then the concept was that let's also send free test kits for sizing, and how we would do that and then I just asked it to search for patents, and by the Perplexity just came out one day back for a patent searching AI. But effectively, I asked it to understand the patents, understand the device, come up with a product mockup, and then come up with an illustration of a woman using this kit. So now I can explain to somebody, this is my idea, right? So earlier this would have taken, this was probably done in like 5 minutes. Earlier this would have taken like, okay, let me talk to a product engineer and a graphic designer to come up with something I can tell somebody else. But as long as you can kind of spit it out, and yeah, you can do all of this. Now, this is like amateur use, what I was showing you earlier, like a professional prompt engineer focused on design, which is a job that wasn't even a concept a year ago. So new jobs are being created. This is one such example. So, and we have designers who are now getting into this mind stage. But if you want a very specific type of photo, then there's something called JSON prompting, where you give the exact output of what you want and the different styles, which device it should be on, what aspect ratios. And these are things ideally as a photographer you would know. And with the experience of how to write prompts, you'll be able to produce this sort of thing. You could just say, show me a photo of a girl taking a selfie on a mirror, but you're not in control of all of this. But every parameter, as an expert in doing this sort of thing, you can now kind of figure out how to define this. And this is just an example that I took from the internet, one of the groups that promote this. Okay, in the dying embers of this particular session, I'll preview kind of probably the most exciting thing and most useful thing in terms of automations and workflows, etc. So this is a tool called NA10. This is sort of becoming the de facto tool for automation workflows. And pretty much any use case, like we were talking about creating WhatsApp chat bots that connect with some files and act as a chat system. So this is how NA10 represents AI agents, where you have some sort of intelligence, you have some files as memory, and you can connect it to tools. So you can say, hey, also check my Jira, or also check something else, like so it's in sales. You can say, this is just an example where it's connected to a Google Sheets, and you can connect it to as many nodes as you want, different kinds of stuff. So not necessarily even AI that you wanted to connect. A lot of use cases that we think needs AI doesn't need AI. It just needs like automation and workflow. That's how I approach problems. Do I really need AI for this? Most of the problem is not an AI problem. It's a workflow problem. And then there's like a small component of AI, which is making a decision or drafting an email or analyzing the positive or negative of something. And then the rest of it is just connect to email, send an email, make it colorful, all of that. So NA10 is like a tool that we use for within marketing, within different use cases. One use case that we use over here, which is quite handy for us, and I guess this is the one. So there's a tool. This one. So this is a tool that's connected to my Google Calendar, and it gets all my calendar invites, events. It removes people who are not within my company. It then checks that email on Google, like name and last name, etc. It gets their LinkedIn URL. It scrapes the LinkedIn URL and sends me a summary of their LinkedIn profile automatically, right? So this is an example of a workflow where there is some trigger, there are multiple steps in a sequence, and it gives me an output. Technically, this is programming, like this is coding, but the way it breaks it up makes it very easy to kind of digest. And it's very easy to plug in like an AI agent or an AI node, which then takes the data and says something like, analyze the LinkedIn summary, compare it to mine, and give me some talking points, right? So in fact, for this particular one, we ended up building a sort of front-end version of this as well, where if I've got multiple meetings, let me see if something gets pulled up now. I was working on this earlier. So yeah, let's go with her. So it's scraped this person. This is a copy of their LinkedIn, basically. It's giving me their profile. It's giving me all their work experience. It's also going to kind of pull their website information, things from their LinkedIn, and what all they posted, and then create a summary of them, right? So all the things that I should be doing about them, giving some talking points for me during the meeting. So this is like the software version of the flow that you saw earlier, which is like the back end, and this is the front end, basically. So this is a tool that hopefully we'll have available to everyone over here in case you want it. This N8N is a workflow. So this is all backend. So N8N is purely backend, and it's your job to figure out a front end if you want. If you want to build newsletters automatically, N8N is a brilliant tool for that. Anytime you have some sort of flow that can be set up and needs to run automatically every day, N8N is again very, very good for that. We're training our developers, our marketing folks are spending a lot of time on N8N as well, and kind of automating posts, automating things, etc. Yeah, correct. So, okay, I guess that's N8N is designed for that. Yeah, N8N you can have multiple things like Facebook, Instagram. You can kind of connect it to Facebook, Instagram. I guess Instagram is not there, but anything that's receiving, you can push it out to any social media things. And if the tool is not already there, somebody in the community will create another export. Or Gmail is, oh, absolutely Gmail. So in fact, in a future session, I'm just quickly previewing, you can set up such a flow that you can receive an email, you can connect it to an AI agent to say that, hey, anytime this email comes from so-and-so person, go ahead and create a reply and send an email, etc. So read the email, do some processing, send the email, but also maybe save it to your CRM at the same time. Let's save contact. Add contact. Okay, I'm just kind of making this up. So you can really tie together a lot of flows once you get the hang of it. Lead generation form, saving it to multiple places. We use this for triggering callbacks. So when somebody fills out a form, call them back with some message directly. So we connect to an online telephony provider, and we have our own server that has a voice agent installed in it, so we can make unlimited calls. Of course, we have to pay telephony fees, etc. But that entire workflow is automated, and we use N8N as a backend. Okay, I guess we are now well into time. Any other questions? That's pretty much all I wanted to showcase for you guys today. This is meant to kind of open your minds and ideas, thoughts. With that, I guess on that note, I will pretty much put down the imaginary mic that I'm, okay.
No questions in the chats.
Okay.
Will you keep the recording for the
Recording for this? Yes. Yes, we will get.
I trust that note taker.
Okay. There are different AIs recording different parts of this. Another AI will be used to stitch this. The AI called Lokesh will finally send it to you. Yeah. Yes, yes. I like the way you're thinking. Yes. Cool. Any other questions? Was that, did you guys learn something new today? Raise your hands up if you learned at least one new thing.
Share some resources where to follow for updates or recording.
The IIMB club. We'll share a follow-up after this with all the links that
I have.
Yeah, we'll send everyone who's joined all the links over here, and I'll create another specific document for this. If you guys have interest, I do keep sharing updates to a closed group. Happy to add you guys to that as well. But yes, please free to connect to me on LinkedIn. Any questions you have about anything. If I don't know the answer, I will make it my life missions to find out. So yes, perplexities. Can we have the chat? Yes, I haven't forgotten. Yes. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so
We have any follow-up sessions, sir?
yes. Yes. So I hope this was a good session in terms of getting people thinking. There is a lot of hands up as well. Just to give you a preview or a hint, there will be more sessions coming up. So working closely with the team here to set up a series of formal sessions like this, where we'll deep dive into different tools and different outcomes. We're planning once a week, once every weekend, a session like this where we'll get into NA10 like you saw today. We'll get into prompt engineering and context engineering and really maximizing the use of ChatGPT. We'll get more into the creative side as well to kind of figure out how you can help use for social media and other tools that can help you in your businesses. So there's a lot more lined up as well, and we will be sharing details of that if you are interested and keen to learn more and make yourself more AI savvy, and definitely watch out for that update. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks
That
for.
was a great session. Thank you.
Thank you.
5 out of 5, please.